Hey y'all, it's Leah. Welcome back to my series on making an ideas book full of different junk journal elements that we can refer to in the future. So today's project is going to be this cute pocket envelope and tag. So when we open up our little envelope, so it goes up like this, we have a little tag that is attached here and flips open, and then we have a pocket here. I'll show you how that goes there. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started on how to make this one. So I am using, I kind of started with an 8.5 by 11, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and worked out the measurements from there. So if you wanted to scale this down or up, you'd have to kind of figure out, and you'll see kind of how it comes together as far as how you want to make that, how you want to put it together. Okay. So first thing, we're going to start with one piece of double-sided cardstock. This is going to be the flap part and the back part. And so I cut mine to 8.5 by 4.5, and then I scored it at 3 inches. Okay, and then my next piece I cut to, this can be the same cardstock or different cardstock. It totally depends on how much contrast you really want in your piece. Keep in mind that this piece is going to go sideways. Okay, it's either going to go this direction or this direction. You get to choose. And so keep that in mind if you're using directional paper. So this one is 7 inches by 4.5. So this part, when we go this way, needs to be the same width as the back piece. So this one was 4.5. This part has to be 4.5. I made this part, I wanted it to be, it's about 1/2 inch shorter because I actually started with 2 pieces that were the same length, but then I was like, oh, I don't want a tag to be, it would have ended up being a tag this wide, and I wanted my tag to be shorter, so I cut 1.5 inches off of that. So you can kind of play around with it. Like once you lay this paper on that's the same width as this, then you can see how big of a tag you want this flap to be. Okay, so we've got those 2 pieces. Okay, for this one you need to score, you're going to have it on, well, let's start this way. If you're going to have it opening this way, then you are scoring at 2.5. Okay, that's where, so my tag is 2.5 inches wide. If you want it to be on this side, then score at 4.5. Okay, and obviously, yes, you can always just score at 2.5 and flip it over. But for some people, depending on how you're looking at your paper, you want it, it's going to be easier to do it this way if it's a directional paper. Okay. All right. So we've got that. With this paper, this is the short one. Okay. I'm going to fold in my flap. I have a punch that does the chopped edges, like the tag edges. If you don't have that, you can just use scissors, or if you have like a credit card, a lot of us have credit cards that we just chopped the edges off to make tag edges, then you're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm using the largest one on here, and so I'm just going to do that and make things fly at me. And then I'm going to open it up and do the same thing to that other corner. So now I've made my little tag. Okay. If you want to round your edges, that's what I did. This paper was just so soft, and like, you know, I was going for like that real romantic looking, kind of shabby chic feel. And so I did go ahead and round my corners. So you'd want to do that at this point. Okay. Do all of your inking at this point. Actually, not quite yet. One more cut to do. We do need to make a thumb notch on the top of this one. So we're going to notch, you know, just in the middle-ish. And I'm using copy paper. It doesn't love that, but that is my thumb notch there. Okay, so now we are ready to glue that on. So for this, My trick with gluing is I always hold the piece that I don't want to glue. And so I'm just gonna glue here. So the side, the bottom, and then this side. And that is gonna make our back pocket. Making our little envelope like this, okay? And then for your tag, you can add, if you wanna, you could even, you could put a little piece of lace or something here. I just used a little enamel dot for this one just to show like, hey, it's a tag. You could put a brad through here, you can put an eyelet through there. However you want, you can leave it blank. It doesn't matter. There's no rules in junk journaling. That's the only rule, okay? So however you want to do that, okay? So now for this part, to seal it, to have it close, we do want to have some sort of closure on there. And so the way we are going to do that, let me just cap this real quick because I'm going to use a different glue for this one, okay? The way we're going to do that is we are going to add a brad to the bottom of the front. So I'm just gonna go a little bit up from the bottom and punch my hole. Put my brad in there. I did find I tried a couple of different brads on here, depending on if you're using lace or string. You just want to be mindful that some of them have little like spurs on the bottom, and I found because I was using this lace, it kept catching on that, so I had to find something that was a completely smooth back. The other reason that I went a little bit higher up on here is so that if my brad turns, it's not going to go over the edge. I made that mistake on this one because I was trying other brads that had shorter prongs than this one did. Okay, so we've got that. So now we are ready to grab, that's what I forgot to grab, was some sort of closure implement. I'm going to go with some raffia for this one. See how that works. Okay. And for this, you want your closure is going to come up from the bottom. So you can glue down as much as you want. I figure if it's going to also get glued onto my journal, I don't have to do a ton. I don't have to go all the way to the top, but I can if I wanted to. We're just going to glue that down. And so now we're going to come up and we're going to wrap that. You have to loosen that a little bit. Wrap that around like that, and I can chop that. So now I have my little closure on there. Okay, so that is all there is to it for our pocket envelope and tag. Let's go ahead and get some stuff out of my way. Let's go through our directions on this one. So we cut one piece of double-sided cardstock to 8.5 by 4.5. We scored it at 3 inches. We cut one piece of double-sided cardstock. It can be the same or it could be different, to 7 by 4.5. And then remember that that one's going to go sideways. So if you're using directional, make sure you're cutting it in the correct direction that you want it to be at. You're going to score it 2.5 for a left flap or 4.5 for a right flap. You want to corner notch the flap, so you'll have it folded in and then corner notch, and then do your opposite, unfold it, do that corner. And then you're going to want to do a thumb notch for that back pocket. Glue that to the bottom of the first sheet, so of your 8.5 by 4.5 page, and then add a brad to your top flap. Glue some string or ribbon or lace to the back of the bottom, have it come up from the bottom, and then decorate as you desire. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get this into the journal. I've had to start marking where I have open spots because they are few and far between right now. So I think if you're watching this when it posts, I am still in Texas, maybe just getting back. At this point, I'm recording a bunch ahead of time. And so I've been visiting my family, and that's on my to-do list when I get back, is to make a new ideas book journal. I need some more space because I still have ideas, or I'm still finding ideas, I should say. And I will attach the link. I'll link the video below where I did see this really cool pocket envelope and tag. Is on a reel, and so I will link that below for y'all. Okay. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me comments. I love to see them. So hope y'all are doing well. Thanks. Bye.